What does music mean to you? Why do you like what you like? What songs, what albums, what instruments shaped your personality? What are some songs that define your personality, that define a certain moment in your life and time? Let's get to it. Now, originally, I bought an album. I bought this at the end of 2022. It was one of my favorite albums, period, and one of the top rap albums for me, which is Vince Staples' Ramona Park Broke My Heart. And it was just going to be a short unboxing video. But while doing that, my plan for the episode was going to be explain why you like the album. Like, why do you think it's the best album? And so much time has passed that I don't want to do that anymore. But I thought that I can do that in a bigger sense. So in this episode, I want to talk about specific albums and their significance, because sometimes I feel like, especially in hip hop, and this might be an outdated way of people's thinking, but when I was coming up as a youngin, early 2000s, I'm not like a super triple OG in hip hop or whatever, but the connotation was, it's just like rap. It's just shoot 'em up, bang, bang, kill, kill, shoot, shoot. But I think in the age of the internet, where there's more information, there's entire documentaries about lyrics, about rappers' lyrics. And I'm not saying that some of these lyrics are not destructive or promote something negative, but what they're talking about, what they're rapping about, what they may be singing about is coming from a real place, even if it's ignorance, right? I'll be honest, it kind of fascinates me because when you think of a brotherhood, when you think of camaraderie, when you think of ride or die, you may have a certain person in mind or a certain group of friends in mind. But I know not only on the West Coast, but it's big on the West Coast, is gang culture. And some people, even if you're not in a gang, you may be in a gang area, gang infested area. And it kind of blows my mind when I hear about the stuff that goes on in the West, the politics that go on. It's kind of insane to me. It's insane. It's insane to me that it's just insane to me. So without, going too deep into that, this Ramona Park Broke My Heart album, I felt like this project gave just a thorough look into Vince Staples' life, how he thought of the hood, what he thinks about the hood, and the stuff that goes on in the hood. Ramona Park Broke My Heart. Like, it's kind of, it's almost, I watched like an interview just to make sure I didn't misinterpret some things. And Vince Staples is kind of clever the way he not dances around things, but he kind of gives you just what you need without saying anything that can kind of make him look bad or, mess up marketability. And not saying that it's too intentional. It's really not our business, to tell you the truth. So anyway, I just thought this was a good album that, stuff ain't all sweet. He said on one of the top tracks for me, called Free the Homies, if I had one wish, I'd free the homies. And the thing is, now back in one of my old jobs, I would listen to music on YouTube, and because YouTube wasn't blocked. So I would be listening to this song at one of my old jobs, and it was the lyric video. So the lyric video for Free the Homies was on. And in this lyric video, it's naming all these people that he knows or maybe friends with or from the set that are locked up. And when you see all these names, it's like, this isn't just for our entertainment. This is real life. These are his real homies that are locked up. And the specific area that you're coming from, may be a Crip or Blood area. And from what I understand, his area is a Crip area. And it's just kind of insane. And I'll tell you the truth, just from the YouTube algorithm, you're able to put two and two together. He said on one of his albums, on the song Senorita, he kind of threw the name of the set out there. And when you find out, like, the baseball hats that they wear out there. In his little GQ interview, like it was like, 10 things Vince Staples can't live without. This is what I'm talking about. You kind of drop things in there. He had a New York fitted, right? New York fitted, classic Yankee. It's a staple. Everybody wears a New York fitted. And he said, like, he kind of keeps it. It keeps him grounded. Remember where he came from. Now, on the surface, oh, okay, whatever. He talks about he likes the Yankees and New York. On the surface, it's like, oh, okay, so he's a New York fan. But in reality, the New York fitted and the symbol represents way more on the West Coast than it does to him. And by chance, the area where, they're claiming a certain set wears that hat. So, when I look at that GQ little thing that he did, it's like, okay, this New York fitted is the hood. You're always reminded where you come from, the hood, the people that are there, the people that you lost, the people that are locked up. Things are so much more deeper than what they seem. And this is something that I'll never fully understand, because, you lose friends to certain circumstances. You lose people in general. But, I had one homeboy that I lost to like gun violence, and I hadn't seen him in probably 10 years. So it's not like we was like this every day since when we was homies. So I can't imagine losing friends constantly due to the lifestyle that you're living or the lifestyle that they're living. Even if you're not in the gang, you got friends in the gang. So, you get a lot from this album, and that's why I bought it. I don't even use my record player like that. I don't really play my records. I'll do every blue moon, but so that's one. So now for this is one of my all-time favorite albums, and definitely one of my top hip-hop albums is Mos Def's Black on Both Sides. Now, I just had to own this, and in the past I said that I always thought album covers with just the artist's face on it are pretty good, and this is like a prime example. Like the lighting, I'm not like into photography like that, but just the lighting, how it captured, the clarity of this picture. I think this is a great album cover. Like I mentioned before, also in the past, the Snow Allegra album cover, and not saying that everybody whose face is just on here makes a great album cover. I don't know, this one, the Snow Allegra one, there's other ones too that I can't think of, but those two off the top of my head, Cleo Soul, or if I'm saying her name right. But this album, this came out in 1999. So in 1999, I was in kindergarten. Shout out to Miss Klemchok. That was my kindergarten teacher's name. I still see her around. I see her in Sam's Club sometimes. Crazy. And one thing about Miss Klemchok, what I realized was she was not old. She had to be in her 20s when I was in kindergarten, because the lady's not old. I see her around. I'm like, you're like 40 something. So when, 20 something years ago, you had to be in your early 20s. So anyway, Mos Def's Black on Both Sides. Now, I was truly not introduced to this album until I was either in my late teens or early 20s. I believe I had to be like 19 or 20 when I first listened to this album. I really didn't know what a Mos Def was in my childhood. My childhood was dominated with 50 Cent, Kanye West, and Lil Wayne and Cassidy. And rappers alike, what was on TV, what was on BET, MTV, because music was a lot harder to consume if you weren't pirating it, if you weren't downloading it illegally. And at the same time, I'm a young boy. I'm into the gangster stuff. I'm into the super, the hardcore lyrical. I'm basically talking about Lil Wayne being like lyrical, crazy punchlines, and also talking about some destructive nonsense. So let me just, get straight to the point with Black on Both Sides. This album is great to me because I feel like Mos Def, the stuff that he was talking about in this album is still applicable today. Still applicable today. The stuff he was talking about in 1999 when I was in kindergarten is still applicable today. What songs? Well, on the first song, Fear Not Man, he's just kind of talking on the record. He's just, just talking. Then it goes into the song Hip Hop. Now, one of the lines that he says in hip hop, the song Hip Hop, is hip hop went from selling crack to smoking it. Now, if you were to pick your poison, I would say don't do either. Don't sell drugs, don't do drugs. That's me. I'm a square. But how is that applicable today? Now in 99, I didn't hear, there's different regions of hip hop, like where, in Houston or down south or Memphis, they're talking about sipping on syrup and stuff like that. In New Orleans, there's certain, there's a song that I have in mind that I won't even say the name of. They're talking about doing another type of like hard drug. And it's like, you kind of get into, the climate of what certain regions were doing when you listen to certain regions' music. And that's why I think it's, me personally, that's why I like to listen to all different regions in hip hop, not just, up north, down south. You got to listen to, East Coast, West Coast, down south, Midwest. You got to listen to it all to really get a feel of the climate in different areas and in different time periods. So even today, like, it's kind of sad what these young kids are doing to themselves in hip hop. They're doing all sorts of pills. They're sipping all sorts of lean. And then you have fake pills, fake lean, fake this and that. And people are dying. People are overdosing. And it's just sad. And what's even more sad about it is these kids are like singing and rapping about pretty much killing themselves. And that's what he's saying. Like, in hip hop, we used to be the hustlers. We used to, try to get money. Now we're spending money on killing ourselves. It's a messed up game. That's cold. It's cold, man. It's real cold. So, that's one thing. He has, another song, I'll just finish off with this album, called Got. And that is even more relevant today than ever. In the hip hop culture, all you hear about is, okay, this person got their chain took, or this person got robbed and he lost his watch, and all this other aggressive, violent nonsense. But what is Mos Def saying in the song Got? He gives some examples of how people get got. You're over here flashing stuff, stunting on people. If you're amongst wolves and people who are hungry and you want to be flashing, like, driving, this crazy car, and people have the right to wear what they, want to wear. You got a nice piece of jewelry or you got a nice gift and you want to, put it on. But at the same time, you have to be cautious, right? You have to know what areas you're going to. You have to know, okay, with this, am I wearing a rob me sign? How much is this worth? Is it worth wearing outside? Now, to someone who isn't like me, once again, I am a stone cold square. So you might look at me and say, oh, this dude's a sucker. That's, or he's easy lick. No. What he's saying in this song is, acting invincible just ain't sensible. So you can have this arrogant attitude of, I'm going to go where I want, do what I want, wear what I want, flash what I want. Oh, these dudes over there, they're broke, zero motion, getting no money. I'm going to show them how we really do it where I come from. Woo, woo, woo. Stun on these haters. Flex on these haters. Well, one of them haters, you might be tough, but one of them haters might be a little bit tougher. And one of them haters might get over on you. Maybe, some of the people that you're around or don't like you that much, or they're looking at you as a come up. They set you up to get robbed. You know, it's having the arrogant attitude or trusting people who you shouldn't trust, who have bad intentions, all the ways that you can get got. And he and I love this song because, especially in hip hop, everybody's tough and everybody's macho bravado, and you know they go anywhere in the world and don't get touched. And this is exactly what he was saying in 1999: acting invincible just ain't sensible. And you know, when you get stuck up, it's like, oh man, come on now, stop the violence. We supposed to be brothers. It's it's not worth it. You know, don't the harder as and I'll leave it like this: the harder you flash, harder you get flashed on. Most Def said it. I'm gonna move on. Now this one is a more recent album. This is Kara Jackson's Why Does the Earth Give Us People to Love? And this album really means a lot to me, because of a time period. The time period that this album dropped, and what was going on in my life, because there was a lot of death. They say death comes in threes, and I don't like that saying, but at the same time, when there's one death after another, after another, after another, it makes me think of like, okay, death comes in threes. And there's one song called No Fun / Party on here that I really like. That's the song. When I first heard it, I'm like, I like this. I like her. I like her. She has a really soft voice, and this is like kind of a folkish album. Rod's Beats and Coffee. Check out his review, because this brother reviewed this project, and it's really good. I really like it. This came out in 2023. But when it comes to why are you attached to something? Why are you attached to an album, to a song? Well, the why for this one is more personal. Like I said, so around the time this album dropped, someone that I loved dearly died, and it's someone who there's certain people you just don't think about them dying. It just doesn't cross your mind, you know? Like I remember watching the movie Notorious, and when Tupac got shot and actually died, like, you know, the fake Biggie Smalls narrating the joint said, like, you know, I thought he would be okay when I heard he got shot, because he got shot before. You just don't think about it. So the title track to this song, Why Does the Earth Give Us People to Love? She's singing. The song's about 6 minutes long, and it goes from like slow, and then it like picks up like dramatically. Like the second half of the song is like low key thunderous to me and emotional, and I really connect with it. And so around that time, you know, I was just playing the song over and over and over and over again, because I felt like she captured the all the thoughts that may surround one when they lose somebody, they love. It's like, you know, if I can see you again, da 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 da. It's the thoughts of, we were going to do this together, or we had plans to go here, or something like that. She captured the moment. And for that, I hold this project and I hold that song very close and nearly to me. That's Kara Jackson. We're nearing our end. Now, I didn't even rip this out the plastic, but this is a special one as well. This is Kamasi Washington's Heaven and Earth. This is thick. You can't see this, but it's like, I think there's supposed to be like a secret album in here. So this album came out in 2018, and apparently there's like a secret album in here. You can look it up on YouTube. I think I can see it. I never opened it up, but maybe I'll try to do that without damaging the joint while I talk to you. But Kamasi Washington is a jazz musician, and I'll keep it real. I like jazz. I am not a jazz historian, connoisseur, as they say, or whatever, but I was first introduced to him from Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly. and I would see his name on, like, the track list when you're, listening to the songs. It'll say featuring Woo Woo Woo, Kamasi Washington. And while I was dating my now wife, he was coming to town, and it was kind of like just like a good date idea. And I'm like, this is the guy who plays the saxophone, and I'm partial to the saxophone because I used to play it. And so that was like a date night. We had a nice little group. We ended up meeting him, and it was one of the best concerts I've ever been to. Facts. Wow, this is very nice. No wonder no wonder this was so expensive. When I was at the record store one day, I'm like, "Do you have any Kamasi Washington?" And I wasn't looking for this project specifically. I was looking for his EP, The Harmony and Difference, because that's the album that he was like performing when I saw him live. This is like quality. Producing vinyl records is not cheap. It is not cheap by no stretch of the imagination. I know it's not cheap. So yeah, so the significance of Kamasi Washington, and not even this album specifically, although it is a good album, and I'm gonna keep it real. I never finished it. Kamasi Washington's songs are long. They are very long. And let me finish the story about the concert. We saw him in concert. It was one of the best shows I've ever been to. I would close my eyes at certain points of the show, and I felt like I was levitating. I felt like I was floating. That's how good the live performance was. The band, everybody. And fun fact, he had Thundercat's brother. If you listen to Thundercat, who's on the Brain Feeder record label, his Thundercat's brother was playing the drums for him, and it was just such a great show. And I like to listen to Kamasi Washington, and it's like he took jazz. The jazz that I know, the jazz that I would hear, like when I think jazz, I think old heads. I think, there's certain jazz musicians and jazz records that are just slow and tame. And I would listen to some of those jazz records, and it's like I can appreciate it. Now there's an appreciation for it, but I can't listen to this. Like, I cannot actively listen to this. I can't listen to this in the car. I don't want to listen to it when I'm at home. I just can't get jiggy with it all the way. So Kamasi Washington, on the other hand, there's an explosiveness, there is power, the way that he plays the saxophone, the musicians that he collaborates with, the people who do the cello for him, the people that play the keys with him. Everything that he touches is a gold. And I'm sounding like a fan right now, but you got to give your props where the props are due. This is a genius. This dude is a genius, man. And the fact that you're even creating songs that are 10, 15 minutes long, and they're exciting all the way through. One of the songs that I really like on here is Hubtones. And I was first introduced to Hubtones by watching the music video. The director who did the Hubtones music video also worked with like Jay-Z and Beyonce when they did their collab album or something like that. Jay-Z and Beyonce, and she's a talented film lady. I don't know everything that she does, but so yeah, the significance here is my respect for his musicianship, his artistry, the visions that he has. So that's another reason why I'm connected to not only this album that I didn't finish, but Kamasi Washington. So that was just a few albums. There's one more that I could have talked about. You know what? Forget it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. If you made it this far in the podcast, thank you. Now this one, because this one is important, because so far we had hip hop, we had jazz, and we had like an indie folk artist in Kara Jackson. Now this is what some people would just call weird. Now this is Ariel Pink's Haunted Graffiti. Now I say Ariel Pink. I'm not going to keep doing that Ariel stuff for the camera. This is Ariel Pink's Haunted Graffiti, and this album is called Before Today. Now, I don't even know how I got put onto Ariel Pink. There was a point in time where this is still in the plastic as well. There was a point in time where I was in my like late teens, and I'm like, all I listen to is rap, just rap. And I knew, some R&B, like the bigger R&B tracks that were on the radio and stuff. But it was really a goal of mine to expand my music taste. And this is one of these things that are not so like this guy, Ariel Pink, has a fan base. It's not like he's like super obscure and super experimental, but from playing his music around other people, not everybody is into it. I'll put it like that. Not everybody is feeling it. They'll say, I had somebody say, what is this Nickelodeon music? I've had people say, this is weird. I'll have people say, turn this off. So, I wouldn't recommend you playing this at the function. Put it that way. But this, why am I like, what's the why behind it? What's the why behind the love for Ariel Pink's music? To tell you the truth, I'm still trying to figure that out. There's just some things that that you like, and I mentioned this in I've said this before. Some things just sound good, and while many people do not think this sounds good sometimes, and it's not that it's bad, but it's just not for everybody. It's now, if I was to describe this music to somebody who never listened to Ariel Pink before, I would say like it's lo-fi, it's like a lo-fi pop, lo-fi rock, lo-fi. I don't even know. He just does his thing, like lo-fi West Coast synthesizer type music. And the thing is, like, sometimes the music sounds spontaneous. And I think the way that my mind works, the things that I'm attracted to, sometimes like I don't, put on my full personality for everybody to see. But I feel like this, some of this music that Ariel Pink makes aligns with how I kind of see myself, sometimes being random, sometimes being a goofball, sometimes like it could be many things. And I really appreciate the music. I would love to see this dude live. Unfortunately, when I was really getting into his music, he had just he left the city, like when I was looking up his tours. And this is somebody I've been rocking with for close to 10 years. Close to 10 years. Shout out to somebody on one of the internet forums that I used to frequent back in the day. They uploaded his entire discography, stuff that's not on Apple Music, stuff that like his entire discography. I still have it on a flash drive. It might be virus ridden. Who knows? But I doubt the person who gave it to me. Not that I know him in real life, but that was my like internet homie. And he gave me the entire discography. Don't know where he got it from. And this is the last thing I want to say real quick. I love the streaming services. Like, I think streaming services are important for the consumer, because when I was coming up, everything that I had to get was pretty much pirated. Unfortunately, like, I had to go on like, file sharing services and, put your laptop, computer, desktop, whatever. You had to take a chance on it, going on LimeWire. I done burned down a computer before because, messing around with LimeWire. And then like to find music, it's like you had to go on like these internet forums where people were sharing music, or they're sharing websites to music where you can download an album for free. When I was, listening to like Mac DeMarco, if I wanted to listen to Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, I got all that music through free websites. I had to you just had to get it how you live. You just had to hit the internet streets and figure it out yourself. But the great thing about streaming services, and I'll get to the cons of it after my pros, is you don't have to get it how you live on the internet to listen to music. It's all there. It's almost all there, because we forget mixtapes, but when it comes to studio albums, you can listen to just about everything, whether it's a rare album that wasn't widely available. For certain places, like if I wanted to go back and listen to the Mac Dre discography, like how many record stores or CD places were going to be carrying a whole bunch of Mac Dre? Now you can just listen to Mac Dre and then, oh, who's this J Diggs person? Oh, let me listen to this J Diggs. So you can discover artists and you can listen to artists without the hassle of trying to find it yourself on the internet. And you don't have, that's the thing. Like, I didn't have no money to buy all these albums. I didn't have all the money to, purchase these albums that I was listening to back in the day. Streaming services really helped out with that. And, the only con to streaming services, I would say, is, there's the politics behind it, streaming wars and all this other stuff. And then Kanye West specifically, I don't like this. Updating albums. Come on, man, just drop the album. So there's certain things that I do miss. I have, the old school, back when I was getting How I Live, The Life of Pablo. I think the song Famous with Rihanna, the version that I have, and I still have this on a flash drive because I liked the original version than the streaming service version. That's another thing. Once these artists update a song, remove a verse, something like that, then it's just, they can kind of erase it from history. So, I no longer get it how I live no more. I know that albums still leak and stuff is out there on the streets. I don't even mess with that no more. I'm a internet square as well. I do not like taking chances on, I'm an adult too. It's if I got some weird stuff on my desktop, I'd be like, my money is going down the toilet. I'm not trying to waste none of my money. I ain't trying to take no chances on the stuff that I paid my hard-earned money on. We ain't doing all that. But just getting back to the point and wrapping things up here, it's deeper than rap, and there's so many more musicians and stuff that I could have talked about. I wanted to keep it to vinyl records that I had and kind of just explaining what they mean to me. But while doing this, I, want to engage you. I want to engage the audience. All two of y'all, I see you out there. But what's a song? What's an album? What's a project? What's an instrument? What does it mean to you and why? I can tell you I like this song or I like this album, but why do you like it? How does it touch your heart? How does it affect you? How does it, does it make you cry? Things like that. What do you like? Or what's something that you like and that not everybody's feeling, but you like it? Tell me why. This is the Qool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. Easy.